Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today's topic is going to be non-judgment and how we apply that to our thinking while we're meditating, and also how to use that to build a full practice in general. This is a channel where you can learn the ins and outs of mindfulness practice, get tips and tricks on meditation, and no matter what your level, where you can meditate with me. So thanks for joining today. If you've been getting something out of the channel, I would really love it if you could subscribe. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. So this topic of non-judgment is in a lot of ways a continuation of my last video, or sort of a deeper level of how we can detach from our thinking, and how we use a new orientation to look at our thoughts. In our general life, in our day-to-day life, we're engaged in this process of constantly evaluating and judging everything around us, from people to concepts to the news to the day-to-day items in our home. And with meditation, we're practicing something new. We're practicing a new sort of skill set and a new way of looking at things, which is that anything that is not our mindfulness focus, which in this case is the breathing, is the sensations in the body, that anything that's not that, any distraction, any kind of thought, that we're going to regard all of those as equal, and have a sort of a neutral stance of whether the thought is about something about aggression, maybe some thought of violence towards someone who wronged you, or some thought of benevolence of maybe donating money to a charity, or helping a friend. That when we're distracted by either of these kinds of thoughts, and these are just sort of a random example, that we're not going to see one as better than the other. That in this perspective of mindfulness, that we're just going to see them both as thinking. We can label them as thinking, and we can come back to our breathing. Another way that this applies is that if we're noticing strings of thoughts or thought patterns emerging, that we're always, maybe for the last few days, we're having a lot of angry thoughts, or a lot of sad thoughts, or conversely, a lot of happy thoughts, that we're going to suspend our judgment of that and not kind of make it into a problem, or like, oh my God, I keep having these thoughts, and what's wrong with me, and this is terrible. That again, we're just going to come back to our breath. That said, insight and sort of new information, new knowledge about yourself, that is part of the meditation practice. So, if you are kind of getting new information and it's causing you to reflect, I'd say definitely go ahead and do that. But during the actual practice of meditation, that if you're having, thinking, that we're just treating it all the same, and we're coming back to the focus of our breath. So that's kind of two ways to look at more specifically about thinking and about non-judgment towards that. And the last thing is more of a global kind of perspective of we're going to practice in our meditation practice. It's kind of an orientation of generosity, an orientation of kindness and friendliness to ourselves. This is a way that we can learn how to get to know ourselves better, and really ultimately getting to know the nature of reality and the nature of our world, if we go deep enough. So the thing is, having that kind of kindness to ourselves really goes a long way, because it keeps us open, it keeps our heart and our mind open. And I discussed this in a previous video where I was sort of more harsh with myself in the beginning of my practice for many years. And to me it sort of seemed irrelevant of this idea of kindness or whatever, but I've really learned that it's actually an integral part of the meditation practice and of this mindfulness practice and this getting to know ourselves. So I would encourage you that, if that's something that you struggle with, to push yourself, to be kind, to be patient with yourself, and just to take one thing at a time, and just to do the practice, because you will improve over time. So that said, if you have any questions about what we covered today, I would really love it if you could leave them in the comments. You can DM me on Instagram if that's better for you. And this channel is for you, so it's always good for me to know that you're thinking about what I'm putting out there, and also is it useful to you. So please do let me know. And without further ado, let's go ahead and just meditate for 2 minutes before we end today. So taking a comfortable seat. If you're not somewhere where you can take a cross-legged position or your normal meditation position, just sitting as best you can with your back straight and really relaxing your body into the position that you're in right now. Inviting your muscles to soften. Relaxing your eyes, your face, the inside of your chest. And through this window and this invitation of relaxation, just finding your breathing. Not changing the breath, just noticing and allowing it to be just as it is. And as thoughts come up, just gently and non-judgmentally bringing our focus back to the breath. Just one more breath here. And thank you for sitting with me, and I'll see you next time.